Welcome everybody. I want to just say that today's shiur is sponsored by Adi Bortman, Vered Benchitrit. No? That's Vered Benchitrit. And Sandra Finkelstein, in honor of the birth, Bris and Pidyon Ben, of baby Yisrael Nachman, born to Elisheva and Yankel Weinberg. A big mazel tov and shkoyach to you ladies for sponsoring this year. You should be blessed with tremendous tzidkis. You should go mitorah lechupa ma'asim tovim and all the brachos in the universe. It should be to everybody. And if anybody wants to sponsor a shiur, please reach out and through in any way you want, and we'll get it going. So we're holding in the Chochom and Tam. By the way, we're also doing a big fundraising campaign. You know, we don't fundraise here almost ever. We just have to do like one fundraising campaign to take care of our renovation costs here, and then we're always self-sufficient, and we don't do big campaigns ever, and we don't pay people, and we just mostly volunteer and everything, and I don't get paid for this. Baruch Hashem, I can do it only for good reasons. And so anyway, we're going to be doing a big fundraising campaign, and if anyone is able to take part and help us out, to allow us to keep doing what we're doing, we appreciate it. Okay. The link, by the way, is if you look on our YouTube channel, there's a video about the campaign, and there's a link in the comments of that video that you can find. Or it's kytcampaign.com. 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 Okay, let's get to the good stuff now. So we're holding in the Maisa of the Chochom and the Tam, and last week we spoke about the life of the Tam and how he ate his food and how he drank his drink. And the main thing from last week is that the only thing he had to eat was bread, lechem, and water. He had bread to eat and water to drink. That's it. But everything that he ate, every time he ate bread, he felt that it tasted like the best foods. And it tasted like these beans with gravy and meat and everything delicious. And whenever he tasted his water, he felt it could taste to him like beer or like fine wine or like honey. And you know, on a surface level, it means to say that he appreciated everything that he had, and he was able to be very thankful for everything that he had. And he realized that whatever Hashem has given to him, it's exactly what is good for him, and he's thankful for it. Not everybody in the world has what to eat, period. Not everybody in the world has delicious clean water, right? And it's a big bracha. So that's on the surface level. And we saw a little bit deeper that we saw that the gematria of lechem is 78, I think. Yeah, 78, which refers the three times of Hashem's name, 3 times Yud Kei Vav Kei, gematria is 78, which refers to the root of the midas of rachamim, the three havayas, the three mazalas, where everything comes from. And what does it mean? It means that he was able to realize that all of the other stuff that's below it, right? He had kitnios in gravy. Kitnios means katnus. It means when we're in a state of lowliness, a state of constricted consciousness, when we don't feel connected, right? He realized that all of that, really, it's all coming from that same place. In other words, he only was eating lechem, but to him, it was also kitnios. Meaning to say what? That the kitnios was coming from the lechem. The lechem means the source of rachamim, the source of mercy, which is Hashem. And he meant to say that everything, the high stuff, the low stuff, the good stuff, the bad stuff, it's all coming from the place of the source of rachamim, from Hashem himself. This is how he was able to do it. And with the water that he drank, water is a deeper hint to chesed and ahava, so kindness and love, these midos from Hashem, and sheichar, which is the word for beer, the Zohar HaKadosh says, is connected to the concept of din and what's it called? Din and gevura. Thank you, Cassandra. Din, and she sponsors the class, and she knows what the things are. Din and gevura, right? Meaning to say what? He's drinking water. But what is he ascribing to that water? The water is ahava. And he's ascribing the din and gevura to that water. Meaning, what is din and gevura? That means when I'm experiencing things in life that come to me as they feel like judgments. They feel like din. They feel like difficulty and punishment. This is how they feel, right? These types of things. He's saying, no. Those things are really just water. Really, it's just water. And water is ahava. Water is yira. Everything is from the love of Hashem. And I just have to lift it up and ascribe it back there, right? So we kind of said this last time. I was re-listening to it today a little bit. I didn't think it was exactly as clear as it should have been. But this is on a deeper level what the way that the Tam eats and drinks is teaching us. A fantastic way of looking at the world. Yeah, really amazing. And so we're moving on today, now, to the aspect of clothing. And we'll see if we get through clothing, we're going to move on to this part that is so far up until now is my favorite part of the whole story. We'll see if we get there today. But if not, my favorite part of the whole story will be next week. So we'll see.
No,
2 weeks, yeah. So we're going to move on to his clothing now. So, okay. So like this. The last thing we said, by the way, was that you have to take this all and bring it into your house. Right? We have to work on this type of living, be besimcha, and be with emunah, and to ascribing everything to a higher place. But then, if we want to really establish it in our lives, we got to take it home, and we got to live it and show people that this is the way to be. Because when we live as an example, people see. People don't like to get musar, right? It doesn't work to go up to a person and say, "Oh, you're having a tough time. You know why? I'll tell you why. It's because you got it all wrong. You're doing everything wrong. Let me tell you what's wrong with you." Okay, that does not work very well. But you know what can work is if you're a humble person, but you live in a way that people see that you have happiness and you have emunah, and you're not flaunting it, you're not showing it to everybody, but people see it, then they want to understand, and it has a positive effect on people, right? So this is what we got to do. Take it into our house. Go home. If you don't do it, you know who else is going to do it? Nobody, right? It's the people who are reading the book, listening to the Torah of Rabbi Nachman, that are going to have the koyach to be able to have such a hashpah, such an effect on everybody. Okay, now we're moving on to the clothing. So the clothing part goes like this. So even their clothing, they were so poor, they only had bread, they only had water. Even by their clothing, they had to share the clothing. Peltz echad haya. To him and his wife together, they had one peltz. It's like a kind of fur jacket, let's say, right? A pelt. One that they had to share. And he would say, Ishti, tein li peltz. My wife, please give me my peltz. Because hayatzarich lilbosh peltz. And when he had to wear this peltz, when he had to go to the marketplace, and she would give it to him. So when he had to go to the marketplace, where he could just wear, this type of fur kind of coat, fur jacket, so she would say, "Give me the pelts," and he would give him, and he would go. Tulip, he had another type of garment called a tulip. It says over here, it's me'il elyon. It's like an outer garment, a little bit nicer, right? Leilich ben ha'anoshim. This is where, when he was going to go walk amongst the ladies, so he wanted to dress in a more tznius way. Little known fact, for some reason, people don't know that men are supposed to dress in that sanua way also, in that tznius way, and should be covering themselves properly, and that's why many. It seems like it's the Hasidic way of dress is to wear a long garment that covers your whole body, everything. And so too, you see by the really old school Sfardim, they have like one long garment, right? And the reason for this is also an aspect of tznius. People think nowadays, for some reason, I don't know why they think this, but that it's only ladies who are still supposed to dress in a tznius way. But really, it's men also. Yeah.
So I'm not tznius.
There's levels.
Okay.
There's levels, yeah. So anyway, so when he's walking bein anashim, when he's walking amongst the ladies, he would wear an outer long garment called a tulip. Haya omer, so he would say, Haya omer, ishti, tein li tulip. My wife, give me my tulip, this kind of long other garment. And she would give him the pelts, because that's all they had. Right? V'haya misaneg mimenu, and he would have tremendous pleasure from wearing this pelts that he called his tulip. V'haya mishabeach, and he would praise, Kama yofe ha-tulip hazeh, how beautiful is this tulip of mine. Right? Kshayitzarech lekaftan, when he wanted to wear his kaftan, that's another type of outer garment, or sometimes it's called a kapote. Kagoyin leilech lebeis haKnesses, when he was going to go to shul, he would wear this kaftan. Haya mitzaveh v'omer, he would say to command his wife and say, Ishti, tein li ha-kaftan, give me my kaftan. And she would give him the same old pelts, because that's all they had. Right? And he would praise and he would say, Kama yafa v'na kaftan hazeh, how beautiful and wonderful is my kaftan. Thank you. This is the last one. It's called a yupa. I never heard of these before, by the way, which is also a type of kapata. Like gam kein hapelts. She would also give him again the pelts. There's nothing else. That's all there is, right? Gam kein. He would praise and he would have tremendous pleasure, and he would say, Kama yafa v'na ha-yupa hazais. How beautiful and wonderful is this yupa that I'm wearing now. V'chein v'chayotze bazeh v'hayarak male simcha v'chedva tamid. And this is the way he was, always filled with joy and happiness all the time. Like we said, remember that I was speaking to someone today who was, to me, recounting every bad story that this person could remember from their lives from 50 years ago until now. And this happens on a regular basis to this person. And I was trying to tell them, like, I gave this person a list of 9 things that we could find that's good in this person's life at the moment. And a written down list. And I was like, just focus on these things. Focus on these things. Try to not go. Don't think about 50 years ago, something bad that happened. It's not, you'll never be happy. Why? What do we say always? Happiness is a choice.
Great job.
Happiness is a choice. And like we said over here, the story tells us about this Tam. It tells us that his minhag was to be happy. What does minhag mean? Minhag is not the thing that you're commanded. It's the thing that this is my minhag. I've decided that even though it's not necessarily the way I have to be, I'm choosing to do like this. Happiness is a choice. And the Tam, he chose in everything that he did to always be thankful, to see the good, and to praise and be happy with everything around him. This is the way that the Tam lived. And this is the way he did with his clothing. So let's see what Rav Kivak says about the clothing here, and then we'll see what Rav Arush says about it. Some good stuff here today. So Rav Kivak says like this. Gam bikesh kama mine malbushim shaya bechinas yitzchak bechinas anan lasos lavush mikol hevlei olam, to make a lavush, a garment, out of all of the vain aspects of the world. Shehu ikar ha-pelts, which is the main idea of this pelts. Laha'alois b'tamimus kol davar ra sheba'olam l'kedusha, to elevate every aspect of evil, of negativity in the world to holiness. Ki pelts, the word pelts is the gematria ra, which means evil. And there's a type of avoida where we take something and we turn it, we're mahapechet. We turn it over. We totally opposite-ify it, right? So in other words, to realize, the way I'm understanding this, it's not so clear from his words, but is to sort of understand that this is all just chitzonius. It's all just on the outside. It's all this stuff that looks as if it's negative. and looks as if I need to be upset about this all the time, right? And all the fear and everything that's out there all the time. It's just an outer garment. But really, if you remove that garment, you'll see the beauty is behind it. So this is his whole avodah with the garments, is to oppositify that, and say that, oh yeah, there's a garment around the world, but it's false. The real thing is the beauty of Hashem, and that everything comes from Hashem. This is the deeper understanding of what we're talking about over here. And so too with these clothes, so there's other aspect that Rabbi Nachman talks about. We spoke about last week also. Do you remember what the word makif means? It's this thing. Oh, this is from the Wednesday class right now, right? There's something that's like above my reach. There's a connection to Hashem, spirituality that is above my reach. I don't get it yet, right? It's beyond me, but I still strive for it. And the fact that I strive for it and that I work for it, I work towards it, I don't actually get it. I don't get to bring it in. But the fact that I'm connected to it in this way, it warms me up. It gives me some extra chiyus, some extra inspiration, some extra life within me. So this is also another aspect of something that's surrounding, a garment surrounds, right? Okay, so let's see. V'zacha l'chol b'chinas hamabushim, and he merited to have this in all of his aspects. Kishetzarech leilech ben ha'anashim yesh la yupa. When he wanted to walk amongst the ladies, he had his yupa. Sheyesh la hisparus v'simcha b'libay. When he had, let's say, pride and happiness, good kind of pride, happiness in his heart. Mashein ladam hachi mechubad hamalbush mabushe pe'er. This. That like when a person has honorable clothing and whatnot, ki zoicher be'emes Hashem yisbarach mispar, because he remembered he didn't have the fanciest clothes. But what did he remember? He remembered that when a person wears fancy clothes, right? People look at them and they give them honor, right? You see someone in beautiful fancy clothes, fancy pants, right? So they have a certain look. They have an honorable look. It looks like they're people of honor, right? You can just tell. Right, but he realizes that that's not the truth. The truth is that the honor and pride that a Jew has is that we are Hashem is mispire with us. Right, the pasuk says Yisrael asher b'cha espaer. Hashem says Yisrael that through you I will be honored. I will be glorified. I will be splendorified. Right, splendorified. Right. He realizes that this is where my honor comes from. The fact that I do good things in the world, that I draw Hashem's light into the world, I bring emunah into the world. This is a person's true honor. This is a Jew's true honor. I think we bring the light of Hashem into the world. That's where it really comes from. Right. When he goes to shul, he needs to have a kaftan, which is a beged that you wear by tefillah, by davening. There's garments of pride that we said, and there's garments of humbleness, and they're both something that he needs. He's saying that I have to, on the one hand, I have to look at myself, and I have to find those good things about myself, and through those I have to say, wow, these things were given to me in order so that I can bring honor to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I've been given talents and I've been given abilities that I can use them and I can bring light into the world, emunah into the world. I can shine the light of Hashem in the world. And that gives honor to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, not to me. And at the same time, I have to on my other hand, I have to have a different kind of garment that reminds me that I'm nothing. On the one hand, Hashem gave me tremendous talents. On the other hand, I'm a nothing. I'm just a channel for Hashem, that's it. Right? Like the inyan of Malchus. So we have these two things. So he's going to go through now. He's going to list these three garments, Rav Kivak, and he's going to tell us what the gematria of them are and what they relate to and how they relate to life. Tulip. That's the first garment, was called a tulip. This is the one that he wore when he was walking amongst the ladies. I don't know what that means, by the way. Why he was walking amongst the ladies, but whatever it is. So tulip is gematria, kuf lamed hey, which is 135, which is the word kala. kala, not bride kala, like light kala. So there's a besoid das nashim kala. There's a Talmudic saying, and there's a it's in Pirkei Avos also. It's brought down in a few places that the female intellect is lighter than the male intellect. So if you think about Kabbalah, it makes sense because Chochma is higher than Bina, right? And the masculine energy in Kabbalah is to give, is to be a giver to a level below it, which is the feminine level that receives it, right? Lest you think that this is something that says that men are better than women. You know, the female Kabbalistic energy, the male Kabbalistic energy, and the male energy period, by the way, just give something and it doesn't finish anything. Right? I know everybody's thinking about this in their own lives, but the female energy takes that thing and really thinks about it and really works it through and builds it and turns it into something that can be used, that can be brought into the world, right? And it's like the procreative energy of male versus female. The male procreative energy is short. It's like a one-time thing, right? And then the female energy takes that and lives with it for 9 months and builds it and makes it grow and does everything that it needs to happen to bring it into the world, right? But in the way things flow, the male energy is higher and flows into the female energy. And there's other things, other ways to speak about it also. But we'll leave those aside for now. However, the statement is nashim, das nashim kala, and it's referring to the moichen, the intellect of the world of Malchus. Malchus is the most feminine, really, of all the spheres. It's the princess, right? In the princess story, it's Shabbos, it's all the female energy, right? It's the place of receiving, the main place of receiving, and it's the lowest sphere. It's the lowest of the spheres, right? So that's why we see, that's a hint to seeing that it refers to Moichin de Malchus, the intellects of Malchus. Techila, which is Techilas Avodas HaTmimus be'emunah. It's the beginning of the Avodah of Tmimus, which is in the place of emunah. And therefore it's specifically when he's walking amongst the ladies. So like this, as far as the spheres relate, the level of Malchus is always referring to the level, it's the most active in this world level. So the B'yam Darkecha, Rabbi Shimon Morgenstern, he usually attaches it to two things: emunah and Kabbalas Ol. Kabbalas Ol means taking upon oneself the yoke of the mitzvahs, the yoke of heaven. But it means that I just do. I do it. It doesn't matter if I don't feel it. It doesn't matter if I don't understand it. I do the mitzvahs, right? This is the avodah of Malchus. The other avodah of Malchus is emunah, right? It's the place where even when it's dark, right? We say, the Hagid Baboiker Chasdecha. We can talk about the greatness of Hashem and His kindness when everything's bright and sunny, right? But when it's dark, be'emunascha ba'leilos. But in the nighttime is when we need emunah, right? We need emunah all the time, but the main time is in the nighttime. So that place of Malchus is the place of emunah and the place of Kabbalas Ol. That's the time when I just have to say, everything is a malbush. Everything is a garment, is an illusion. And even in this place where it seems like it's dark, I'm continuing on with mitzvahs. I'm keeping kosher. I'm keeping Shabbos. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. I'm making brachas. I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to do. I'm putting on my tefillin and my tzitzis and davening and everything I'm supposed to do, right? I'm doing it. And I'm doing it with emunah. That's the level of avodah in Malchus. The next one is kaftan. The kaftan, the gematria, is the gematria of ner. Ner, which means a candle, an illumination, a light, right? So Rabbi Nachman brings down in another Torah that's speaking about Hanukkah that it is the same gematria as these three special yichudim, which are the name of Hashem, Yud-Kei Vav-Kei, together with Ekyeh, the name of Hashem Yud Kei Vav Kei together with Elokim, and the name of Hashem Yud Kei Vav Kei together with Aleph Daled Nun Yud, those all together are the gematria of Ner. And it's why it's brought down to speak about how the tremendous lights, the tremendous energy that comes down during Hanukkah when we have the Ner. It's these wild levels that are tremendous combinations of Hashem's names, which means the forces that Hashem puts into the world, we draw down on Hanukkah. So this is Kaftan. So what does it refer to? Shebezeh halavush hoyle chatam lebeis knesses. This is when he's going to shul. Ashrei loy ulaholchin b'drachav. He's going to shul. What does that mean? He's going to a place now where he's connecting on a very deep level. This means when he's going and he's together with a minyan and he's coming to the Beis Medrash to learn Torah, when he's doing those things that are very, very, very holy, right? So they're also the same thing. He's putting it on and he's doing it b'simcha, right? Yupa. Let's hear at the end of this what these are all referring to. Yupa b'gematria tzadik aleph, which is 91. 91. So 91 should be a thing that rings bells in everybody's mind, because 91 is the number, the gematria, that refers to the HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the Shechina being together. Yichud Kudsha Brichu Shechinte. And it's because the gematria of the two names, Yud Kei Vav Kei and Aleph Daled Nun Yud, when they're put together, is this gematria of 91. And if you look in your siddur, you'll see, if you have a Sephardi siddur for sure, or a Hasidic siddur for sure, you'll see that it usually puts these names together. It writes Yud, so you have Yud Kei Vav Kei, which is the main name of Hashem, and Aleph Daled Nun Yud. So in some of the siddurim, it writes Yud, then Hey, then Vav, and then a long Hey, with the name Aleph Daled Nun Yud written in there. In some of the more Kabbalistic ones, it puts them mamish together. Yud, Aleph, Hey, Daled, Vav, Nun, Hey, and Yud. All together, all mixed up together. And in many Siddurim, you'll see this, you'll probably noticed this before, they write Hashem's name sometimes, just Yud Yud. You ever see that? Yeah? Mm-hmm. And ever wonder why? It just seems like a weird way to abbreviate, right? It's not. It actually means this name, because it starts with Yud and ends with Yud. Yud, Aleph, Hey, Daled, Vav, Nun, Hey, and Yud. It's referring to those two names put together. That's what it means. Right? So this means that when I realize that, once again, that everything in the world is Hashem. What does he say? Shezeh hayichud naisa yedei halavushim de kedusha shadam malbish as atzmai b'machshavas toivos umalakol davar l'sharasha. When a person is filled with good thoughts and elevates everything up to the place it's supposed to be, when we show that something in this world is really Hashem, that's uniting HaKadosh Baruch Hu with the Shekhinah, which is Him being revealed in this world. So whenever we do a mitzvah and we show that it's not what it seems, whenever we point out some tremendous hashgacha pratis, that Hashem did a miracle for us, let's say, we're showing that the world is not as it seems. Really? You think it's Hashem out there and there's something else that's Shekhinah? It's all one thing. It's all one thing. This is the idea of this gematria of 91, Yichud, HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the Shekhinah, putting together Hashem and the divine presence, showing that it's all one thing. It's all one thing. So what's happening with these? Kol elu, heim darchei avodas Hashem. These are all the ways of serving Hashem. Ba'ofen shesamach b'tachas hasoiva de kedusha, in a way that a person will be happy with the greatest satiety of holiness. Meaning, I feel spiritually fulfilled. I feel fulfilled when it comes to holiness. Ki b'chol eis uzman hu eiches kvar b'hashlemus. This person is always living with shlemus, with completion, with perfection. So here's the way I understand it, just to put it down into hopefully some simple ways. We're saying over here, once again, just like the last time, we're saying over here this one thing that was called a peltz. This one dirty old lambskin, whatever it is, fur kind of vest that he wore. In my mind, it looks like a vest. I don't know exactly what it is, but right? And this thing, what is it? It's a lavush. It's a garment. It's something that enclothes on the outside, right? And now we say that he realizes he has this tulip, which refers to the service of Hashem in the world of Malchus with emunah and with what's it called? emunah and with Kabbalah's ol, taking on to do the mitzvahs of Hashem, to be close to Hashem, to have emunah, even when it's dark, even when the garment is covering everything up, even when Hashem is being blocked by a garment on the outside. Remember, Peltz is gematria ra, right? He shows that no, that's not what's happening over here. Really, it's not what you think. It's not. It's all an illusion. And so even in those dark, difficult times, he serves Hashem and he has emunah. And he does it, once again, with what? With simcha and chedva. Absolute joy and happiness. This is his minhag. And the kapata, which is the nair, is when he goes to shul and he's living on a higher level. He's doing the same thing. He's showing that there's even higher levels above, right? Everything is a garment. Everything is an illusion. It's not what you think it is, right? And I'm showing that by going to shul and by going and doing very holy things and getting into minyan and going to learn and all these things, right? This is the way I'm understanding it. And the yupa, which is the thing that is the gematria tzadi aleph 91, which is the uniting of kuchabrichu shchinte, which is when we show literally that everything in this world, when we do the mitzvah, we're showing that no, it's not what you think in the world. See Hashem, see this thing that I have, this esrog, this little fruit. Oh, you think it's just something that you cut and squeeze on your salad and it makes it taste good? Oh, you don't know. There's tremendous spiritual energy wrapped up in this thing. And I'm going to do this mitzvah with it. It's not the way it looks. Everything is covered in a garment. And if we can pull back that garment, you'd see this is a huge, powerful light. Right? This is what he's doing, the Tam, in this work. So by the eating, he had bread, which refers to the highest levels of Hashem's rachamim, mercy, and the flow of divine energy from Hashem. And he ascribed his katnus, his kitnius, his lowliness. He said, no, that lowliness is really from him also. And when it came to the water, which is ahava and love coming from Hashem, and he had beer, which is the Zohar tells us is din and gvura, right? Those challenges and those judgments, those difficulties, right? He said, no. That comes from water. That you think that's what it is? Mm-mm. Really, it's all water. It's all love of Hashem. And over here, you think that in this world of Malchus, where it's very challenging and it's dark, and everything is hard to figure out, and it's confusing. No, it's not at all. It's all a garment. It's all just a garment that's covering everything up, right? It's all this idea. Ein ra yored min hashamayim. No, we saw a couple of weeks ago in the Torah of Reb Nosson on the Parsha, where he brought this idea down. An awesome idea. He said that really only, this is by Parshas Re'eh. Parshas Re'eh. So it says Re'eh, Nasati lefanecha hayom bracha v'klala. I put before you, look, I put before you today a blessing and a curse. So Reb Nosson says, it's only before you. It says, I put before you a blessing and a curse. He said, it's only you guys. It's only before you that it looks like a blessing and a curse. Because only one light comes down from Hashem. It's only good. It's 100% good. But depending on what are our kelim, what are our vessels, what are our abilities to hold that light, what is our perspective? What are we trying to see in the world? Where is our desire leading us? Do we want to see holiness, or do we want to see shtus? Right? Do we want kedusha, or do we want pointed shoes and fancy pants? Right? What do we want? Where do we want to go? That's where we're going to be led. It's all one beautiful light. Question is, are we working on ourselves to be able to receive it, and are we aiming our desires in the right way? And if so, then it's going to be a bracha. But if not, it's always going to be a klala. It's always going to be a curse. Right? But it's all coming from the same place. This is what, in my opinion, this whole thing that we learned last week and this week so far is coming to teach us. Right? This is what he saw. So just something practical, because this is awesome stuff. Really, really, really awesome stuff. But it could be that we would hear this and we would just say, "Oh, that was great," and then we go home and just keep going the same way that we always go, right? And we don't do anything about it, right? So it takes effort. We have to put effort into this. But all of those tools that Rabbi Nachman gives us will bring us into this type of vision. Will give us the ability to do this, right? So the idea of hischadshus, of renewal, it's a big Rabbi Nachman idea, right? And it means that when I find myself in any of these places, by the bread I find myself in katnus, in low constricted spiritual perception, right? Or when I'm in the beer, I find myself in a place of din and gevura. I feel judgments. I just feel negative, right? Right? And with the clothing, when I find myself right at the bottom of malchus, in the lowest of the low, the darkest places, right? Right? That can pull me down for a really long time if I'm not careful. Or I can get on board with the fact that every moment Hashem is making a new universe. And in this new universe, He has a job for me. And it's not to be in fear and depression and sadness and being scared of the world and I'm choosing now to be brand new. Brand new. Rabbi Nachman always said this statement that we shouldn't be old. No matter what our age is, we shouldn't be old, right? What does it mean? We grow old, of course we grow old. But even when we're old in years, we should act like a young person. A young person, a little kid is always looking for whatever's out there, right? He's always happy. Remember at the beginning of the story, one of the things we made a video on was that we all start out simple. Remember this? A kid wakes up in the morning and they have no baggage. There's no baggage. There's nothing worrying them. There's nothing holding them down. They're just like, hey, what's going to be today? Right? What a beautiful, amazing existence, hey? This is what Rabbi Nachman means. Don't be old. Don't wake up with a burden and with baggage and be carrying that around all day. Only someone who's been a lot of places for many years has a heavy burden and a heavy load of baggage. Throw it off and start fresh. This is a tool that can help us because now we can look at the world like the Tam. We can say, okay, it doesn't matter, whatever. I have some bread. Bread is delicious. Bread is going to sustain me. I have water. Amazing. All I need is water. Great. I have something to cover my body when I go out. Amazing. Thank you, Hashem. You gave me everything I need. Right? Then we can live like the Tam if we have this. So we have this inyan. We have the inyan of hischadshus. We have the inyan of hisboidedus, of course. Right? When we start finding ourselves in such places where we're unhappy about all the things we're talking about. When we go and we spend time really, really expressing to Hashem all of our feelings and our deepest thoughts and all of our challenges and everything that we're experiencing, right? We get that out and we find that Hashem receives the words that we have and replaces them with guidance and ideas that will help us along and helps us to get on the right track, right? And when we get those things out, it's getting rid of that baggage. It's throwing it out and receiving a little bit of help from the Rebbeinu Shalom in our minds. He's going to give us some guidance. And now it's similar. It's like we're able to start fresh kind of again. We're able to now approach things in the right way. With happiness, with simcha. Right? Many things we can think about. I got a bit of a story to tell you here, but we'll see it over here. So let's move over now to Rav Arush a bit. Page 124. Okay, there's some Geschmack stuff over here also. So at the bottom, he says, the old adage says, clothes make the man, right? We are all aware of how important a person's appearance is because the way one dresses determines what his first impression on others will be. The better he looks, the more others respect him, and vice versa, right? Of course. They don't know anything about you, but if you're wearing nice, respectable clothing, people see you, and that's what they think about you. If you're wearing, he says, over your tattered jeans, whatever it is, I think they can be really expensive these days, tattered jeans, but you know what he means. It says something else about you, right? So, the Tam, he has old, ruddy, broken down clothing. And so everybody who sees him is going to look at him and is going to say, ugh, look at this guy. She's a schlepper. Right? That's what people are going to say. So he should be really unhappy and depressed and sad about this, right? not the Tam. Not our simple one, he says. He believed that Hashem did the very best for him and has given him everything that he needed. His joy was therefore true and internal, independent of any external factors or conditions. You hear this? This is a brilliant statement. His joy is true and internal, independent of any external factors or conditions. That others respected or disdained him had no bearing on his constant happiness and cheery mood. Right? So, it's something one of my friends, Rabbi Law, told me many years ago, and he said it in a class he was giving over, and it struck me so much that I've repeated it so many times before. I'm sure I've repeated it to you guys before. But he said something to the effect of, I'm paraphrasing, that allowing what somebody else thinks about you to affect your mood and your happiness is total insanity. Right? That may not be a perfect quote, but it's paraphrasing it, right? Like, what should that have anything to do with me? Right? What someone else thinks about me. You want to hear something funny? I walked into, I was going to meet a bunch of new people for whatever, I don't want to get into the details. A bunch of new people, and there's a family there. They have a little girl, sweet girl. She's like has some special needs issues. She goes to a very special school. And so such a little girl, very, very sweet kid. You know, she doesn't have some of the filters that other people have. So she looks at me and she sees, I've got, my tzitzis flowing and my long garment and my big beard and everything. She's not seen much of this in her life. She looked at me and goes, "What are you?" Right? What are you? Right? So she's so sweet. It didn't give me pause to think anything. I thought it was so cute and sweet. But I look a little bit different. So well, some places I look a little bit different. In some places. So but what I'm not doing this for Yankel for I don't know, Joe and John Smith over in rural Ontario. Why should I care what he thinks of me? Right? Why should I care what he thinks of me? My happiness is not dependent on what someone else thinks of me. You ever see someone who has a certain type of clothing they like? Forget religious clothing. They like a certain style, and so they wear that style. And maybe it's not fitting with like the newest, latest style, right? And so they're walking through the mall, and another lady gives her the old top to bottom look, checking them out, and a little bit of a look, of like disdain to what they're wearing. Am I gonna now spend the rest of the day unhappy because some fashionista doesn't like the thing that I'm wearing today? I'm gonna ruin a whole day. I'm gonna lose all that time where I could be happy. I could be doing good things. I could be doing mitzvahs. I could be calling people. I could be encouraging other people, right? But I'm gonna let the way that someone else looks at me and thinks of me pull me down. It's like we said last week. It's shtus shibus shtusim. It's the shtusiest shtus. It's the silliest silliness. It doesn't make any sense, right? Right? In addition to that, they have you don't know the person, right? Have you ever had an experience where like I had this recently? I think I told you about this, where I was going to meet a new family, and I somehow got in my head that there's something that I thought I wasn't going to like about them, and that I wasn't going to get along with them, which I don't usually have. Usually I do, but somehow something got in my head. And anyway, they came and they spent time in our house. They stayed with us for a Shabbos, and they turned out to be so sweet and so nice, and we had such a wonderful time. And afterwards, I was like, "You were so stupid. Why were you judging this person that you don't know? After you spend some time with them, you get to see there's a whole different dimension to them. So they're wearing a shirt that you don't like, and you're going to judge them? Imagine the internal nature of that person. They have so much. They're a human. They're a whole universe. And the judgment based on the way someone's looking is gonna affect the way you see that person. Never mind how that person should feel about the way someone else is looking at them themselves. It's all insanity, right? So we must take this lesson that the way that someone else thinks about me, I cannot allow that to affect me. I have to once again shake it off, hischadshus, renewal, start fresh, and now I'm back on track with simcha, happiness, and doing good things. This is what the Talmud is teaching us over here. Right? He says, despite society's competitiveness, comparing nature, and focus on people's shortcomings, the simple one maintained his happiness and self-composure by virtue of his emunah. Everywhere you look nowadays, it's people critiquing and talking about what's wrong with this person, what's wrong with that person. Everybody's trying to look, and this is the whole Indian of Lashon Hara, speaking negatively about people. And we've all experienced this before. There's certain people that you get together with, and all they can do is just talk bad about whoever they can think of, right? And it's once again, it's a waste of hours of time. Nothing good is being done. No light is being brought into the world. Only negativity, only pain, and it puts you down on the wrong path and a terrible way of thinking. It's not good for us. We don't want it. We don't want it. So he says, weiter down farther on 125. The most important lesson we learn from the simple one is that when a person is happy with his lot in life, he has true self-confidence. Whether others respect him or disdain him makes no difference. He knows that whatever he has is Hashem's will, so he feels no deficiency. Since he knows the truth, he is neither, this is another, again, a brilliant line. He is neither gratified nor disappointed by other people's opinions of him. Right? So, what does that mean? It means that it can go both ways. You can do some good things in the world and people are praising you and saying, oh, you are amazing, you're so great, look what you did, and accolades, right? And what's the worst thing you can do there is let it go to your head, right? That shouldn't affect what I'm doing. I might say, oh, I guess, I should move up to a higher level now and I shouldn't busy myself with these things that I used to do because obviously I deserve accolades, right? No, once again, that's just shtus. Keep doing what I'm doing, keep focusing, keep doing good things, right? Not removing myself from connecting with other people because I have accolades all of a sudden, right? And the other way too. I shouldn't be disappointed if someone doesn't like what I'm doing or has for some reason has a bad image of me, right? I can't. What can I do? A funny thing, interesting thing about the shul. There's like, I can only think of really maybe one or two times this ever happened, but there's one guy who has a really bad connection with our shul. I know it seems weird. It's hard to figure out. But so one of the things that happens in the shul over here is, at least on the men's side, I won't speak about the ladies' side, but there's a lot of handshaking, there's a lot of hugs, there's a lot of real welcoming, heartfelt camaraderie, let's say, right? And people are welcomed with open arms, literally, into the shul. It's a very open, happy, welcoming, loving place. So there was a person one time who had a little bit of a problem with touch, like a bit of a mental issue, and so I sometimes walk around and shake everybody's hands to say hi to everybody, and I would come to him, and then I forgot too late, and I went to shake his hand, and he like backed off. He didn't like it. Anyway. So since then, he's like, this place is a place of inappropriate touching. Handshaking and hugging is inappropriate touching. I'm not trying to make fun of the guy because it's a difficult situation. And, okay, not everybody likes shaking hands and hugging. I understand. And so it began to really hurt me and bother me that someone would have such an opinion. But I had to use these tools of Rabbi Nachman that we get from him, right? I had to say, okay, hold on a second. We're doing something important, and this is the energy that we create over here, and it's the right energy, and it's good, and it brings goodness, and it brings love and happiness and kedusha and energy, together, and this person has a problem with it, and it's unfortunate, but we have to remember that we're doing something great over here, and we have to keep doing it. So, okay, it's unfortunate this guy has this problem, but I have to remove myself from that. Be mischadesh, renew myself. Be misboided, make sure I'm thinking and I'm doing it on the right track. Also, I spoke to some, of my rabbis for advice. And once again, the same thing. This is what you have to do, right? So, one guy doesn't like me. Okay, that's the way it is. I gotta move forward. That's it. Another thing that used to bother me. There was one guy when I first started growing my beard long, right? He said to me, he was from a certain type of community. And he was like, "What are you doing? You can't grow your beard long. You have to be trim and proper and whatever." This guy was like for some reason, like this guy who didn't come to my shul, nothing. He was very bothered about my beard growing. He was very bothered. And once again, at first it started to bother me, but I had to use these tools from Rabbi Nachman, check my own ego, right? Understand why it's bothering me. Hispoidus, hischadshus, start fresh and say, okay, that's the way this guy thinks. That's his business. It's not my business. Which is going to bring us soon to the next part, which is my favorite part, but we'll see. We'll see if we get there. I don't think we'll get there today. On the other hand, a person who lacks emunah is emotionally dependent on others. You hear this? This is gold. Mamish gold. Like a beggar, he thrives on the handout of a compliment. A bit of criticism is liable to spoil his entire day. Okay, you hear this? Some people cannot be happy if they're not receiving affirmation, compliments from other people, right? There's no inner sense of self-confidence. There's no inner sense of self-worth. And so they're always looking for compliments from other people, right? And on the other hand, if someone says something negative to them, they're shot. They're done. They're done for the whole day or longer, right? And it's something that we all have to work on, once again, with all these tools to develop a sense of bittul, of humility, and through those things, that's where we get self-confidence from. To know I have nothing to have an ego about, because I'm nothing. I'm only what Hashem gives me, and whatever Hashem gives me is what I'm supposed to have. What ego? I'm also not nervous. I have self-confidence because if I can't do it, that means that Hashem didn't want me to do it. I can try. I can do the things I'm supposed to do with tremendous confidence. Right? This is who I am. This is what it is. We just read by Shal Shudas this week this inyan from the Noam Elimelech in the Tzeitel Katan that he talks about. This is like the original source, by the way, of the 40-day challenge, where he says if you want to change something that is part of your nature, you have to go and do the opposite of that for 40 days straight. Carefully, 40 days straight. Now just switch yourself around. One of the examples that the Noam Elimelech brings is a person who is shy by nature in an unhealthy way, and so is not willing to step up to do things, and is not willing to connect with other people because they're too shy. So he says this person should go and for 40 days straight, when this person goes to shul to pray, to daven, should be out loud, b'kol ram, at their highest voice for 40 days straight. And when they're studying Torah, it should be loud, right? They have to put themselves out there in a loud way for 40 days straight. They're going to change their existence. What am I saying that for? Just because you see, sometimes the person does not have confidence, and it's coming from a place that's not good, right? So you gotta do something to get rid of it, to get it out there. He's giving an avodah. But once again, his chadshus, his spoidedus, 40 days, right? There's a lot of good avodas here. So he goes on to say something over here. I think I'm gonna try to finish this up. I'm not gonna tell the story he says over here. One piece of advice here, and then we're gonna begin the discussion that we're gonna start with next week. Okay, so just if you turn to page 126, this is just a good thing that we should all see over here. Here's an example He just says, please, dear reader, if you are enchanted by the simple one's character, you'd like to live a life of emunah and emotional independence, don't run to change into a pair of torn jeans and a ragged sweatshirt. I don't know what that means, really. But listen to what he says over here. Here's an example. A person who dresses in traditional Orthodox Jewish manner should not be ashamed of his appearance when he must be in a non-religious or non-Jewish area. A newly observant man shouldn't be ashamed to put on a kippah in public. Nor should a newly observant woman be ashamed to cover her hair and dress modestly. So what if the other women laugh? Hashem wants you to be modest because you're a daughter of the king. Does the king's daughter care what silly chambermaids whisper behind her back? Of course not. I can't care. I can't be worried what people are going to think about me. They don't know. They don't know what my path is. They don't know what the track that I'm supposed to be on is. They don't know that I'm a daughter of the king, not me. They don't know, right? So it's an important thing. This goes along with anything. When somebody is becoming more religious, more observant, right? You start doing things, and people start saying things to you. Oh, now you're going Orthodox.
You're glad kosher?
What's you're glad kosher now? What, you're going overboard. What are you doing? Don't go crazy. Don't go this. Don't become a zealot. Don't become this. Don't become that. Right? He's saying, what are you listening to them for? Don't listen to them for anything. Don't listen to the silly people who don't like your fashion sense. In the same way, don't listen to these people either. Why should what they say have to have an effect on you? Right? You have an internal sense of self-worth. You have an internal sense of holiness, and you're on a path to do something amazing. And your goal is to bring light into the world, is to live with emunah and simcha and happiness and do things that connect you rather than disconnect you. So someone who knows nothing about what you're doing is going to say something and you're going to allow it to throw you off? Right? They have no clue. It's like if you know a lot about a certain industry, right? Like, I work in the wine industry, and every once in a while, someone will say something about wine, and they'll be like, oh, whatever. They'll say something about it, and I'll be like, oh my gosh, this person has no clue what they're talking about, right? They have no clue. Most people don't know anything about, a mechanic knows everything about a car, and someone brings their car, and I say, oh yeah, I think there might be a problem with the, with the crankshaft. Whatever it is, because it's making the sound, and the guy's like, okay, we'll check that out. But really, right, he knows what it really is. So why is he going to listen to the person who has no clue what they're talking about? Right? We gotta develop our inner sense of self-worth, our bas melechkeit, our ben melechkeit. We have to know that we're a holy people. We're the sons and daughters of the king, and then we have a path. We have something to accomplish. We want to bring goodness into the world, light into the world, and we're on this path, and I'm not going to let detractors pull me off of that. God forbid. I'm going to keep going forward with strength. In the end of this chapter, Rav Arush says that there's two ways to go here. I say this kind of thing a lot, usually not. I say it here a lot also. Which guy do you want to be? Right? We're learning a lot over here. We're learning about the Chochom and the Tam. We're seeing a guy who's miserable and who's never happy and who's so picky with these stupid little things that he can never be satisfied. He can never order food and be happy. He can never stay in a hotel and be happy. He's never happy with anything. He can't be satisfied. You want to be this guy? Or do you want to be the person who's always looking for the good in everything? Who's always thankful for what they get? Who tries hard to be besimcha, who tries hard to see that everything comes from Hashem, and appreciates and thanks, knowing that everything that comes to him is meant for him, for his good, is meant for her to be just what she needs, right? Hashem always has in mind just what we need, and sees that, and therefore is able to go through life and be in a constant state, or an almost constant state, of happiness, of calm, confidence, simcha, thankfulness, right? Which words do you want to describe your life? The Chochom's words or the Tam's words, right? It's very obvious. It's very obvious. So I guess I guess maybe we'll hold it here now. I was going to start the next section, but it's been an hour now. So I think we'll stop. And so next time we get together, we're going to be starting this new section, which has my favorite part in it. And yeah, I think, why is it 2 weeks?
You're away.
Oh yeah, I'm away next week. You're right. Yeah, thank you. You guys know my schedule better than I do. So thank you, everybody. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Lori, you got something? No? Oh, you're just waving? Okay.
I was going to say, there's a
Yeah.
funny saying, it's none of your business what people think about you.
Right.
So,
That's a good one.
it is a good one.
This is the thing. This is the thing from next time.
Yeah.
It's this thing.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. No, it's not exactly that. It's good. It's great.
The only other thing I was going to say is,
Yeah.
I understand not being impacted by other people. That when it's close family members, especially people you're meant to respect, it's a little more challenging. And so,
Certainly is.
uh,
But it still applies.
it does apply.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of real discipline and real hisbadut and praying to get through it. 'Cause it's not always easy.
Hashem sometimes sends us certain people who are able to push our buttons.
Exactly.
They're just certain people who know somehow exactly. It's very weird, right?
Especially
Sometimes there are people that don't bother anybody else either, but they know how to get under your skin somehow, right? Yeah, Hashem knows how to do it. So.
There are many times where it's in our
know how
heads
you
too.
feel.
Like we think that other people are, thinking a certain way, or
Thank you, 613.
It's something that is all in our heads, in our minds.
But
And
sometimes
they
it's not.
But most people have way too much going on
Yeah, it's not in their
than
head.
to waste their time thinking
It's
about
really not in their
us.
heads.
Like
it's like what the rabbi was saying.
right. And the other thing about the letting go, unloading, is to just purge, because you can't,
Let go.
carry those burdens. Yeah, but purging from your head too, like
It's a discipline for sure.
yeah, like just letting it go, getting it out.
Thanks again to Sandra and to thanks again to Sandra and Vered Benchitrit and Adi Bortman for sponsoring in honor of the birth, bris, and pidyon ben of Yisrael Nachman, born to Elisheva and Yankel Weinberg. Mazel tov, mazel tov.
Mazel tov, mazel tov.
And we'll continue on next week. Ritz Hashem. Thank you, everybody. Have a great. Wait, was someone else trying to say something there? Thought I heard someone peeking in there. Anyone else there? No? Okay, everyone. Have an awesome week, and we'll see you. Next week. I'm away, and we'll come back with my favorite section starting in 2 weeks. All the best, everyone.